Welcome back, everybody, to 31 1990s horror movies for Halloween, where I'm counting down my favorite horror movies from the 1990s. So we've made it to the number 9 spot, and this is when I get to talk about one of my favorite franchises. At number 9, we have Puppet Master 2. Child's Play is a great series, and yes, I can understand people thinking Child's Play is better than the Puppet Master series. I completely understand that. I don't think one series is better than the other. I think they're both great for different reasons, but I'm a Puppet Master fan. I have been a Puppet Master fan for years. I did not include the first Puppet Master in my list of favorite 1980s horror movies because the second one is, part 2 is my favorite in the series, and I wanted to reserve it for this list. However, I love the whole series, or at the very least I love part 1 through part 5. So, Puppet Master 2 is in the spot, but consider that a representation for the whole series, or again, at least part 1 through part 5. I love that section of the series. I can't help it, I just have a soft spot for Puppet Master. When I was younger, I used to do Puppet Master fan fiction. No joke. Yeah, that's probably why I'm such a big hit with the ladies. But anyway, yeah, I used to make Puppet Master fan fiction, and a couple years ago I found some of my old fan fiction stories, and I pulled it out and I started reading it, and I said, oh dear God, this is awful. The writing is terrible. The dialogue is bad. The story is interesting, but oh my God, this is awful, awful writing. I like to think that I have gotten better over the years. I think I've gotten better over the years. But yeah, I used to do Puppet Master fan fiction. That's how big of a Puppet Master fan I was when I was younger. I think the best movies in the series are Puppet Master 2 and Puppet Master 3. I like Puppet Master 2 just a little more because it leans more into the horror side of things. This was made by Full Moon, and it is an independent company, and this is an independent, lower-budget movie, but they did a good job with the money they had. Like, if you add up the budget for the whole Puppet Master series, I don't think it even equals up to the budget of the first Child's Play movie. So yes, the movie works with a smaller budget, and it does a good job at telling its story. The backstory for those who have not seen Puppet Master is there was this old Puppet Master in the 1940s who found out the secret to give life to inanimate figurines, and the Nazis wanted to find out how to use this power because he existed back in World War II. One thing leads to another. It goes more into detail of this plot in Puppet Master 3, but focusing on Puppet Master 2, just to make things simple. He escapes, goes to America with his puppets, but the Nazis followed him to this hotel called the Bodega Bay Inn. He hides his puppets and kills himself so that no one will ever learn the secret. Now, in the first movie, it involved a group of psychics that went to the Bodega Bay Inn to try and find the secret of the old Puppet Master. And there was an evil guy trying to use the puppets to use the magic to live forever and stuff like that. The second story, the puppets bring their old master back to life because they need him to make more formula that animates them, that brings them back to life. And so, not only do you have the puppets running around, you have this dead guy wandering around the hotel.
I am Eric Chani.
At the same time this is happening, the Bodega Bay Inn has been abandoned for years, and this group of paranormal investigators go to the hotel because it's rumored to be haunted. And then puppet shenanigans happen as Andre Toulon is wandering around as a zombie. what I like is there's a tribute to The Invisible Man, which is one of my favorite black and white horror movies from the 1930s. Because he is essentially undead, he's trying to cover that up. He's going by the name of Eric Cheney, and he's all wrapped up in bandages, much like the Invisible Man, and he says he owns the hotel, he's letting the group stay there. One of the investigators looks like his deceased wife, so he starts developing an obsession with her. Meanwhile, the puppets are going around collecting human brains, a specific lobe from human brains that is needed to use in this formula that can keep the puppets alive. It's a very interesting story. I'd say more interesting than the first Puppet Master, and I do love Puppet Master 1. But that movie is a little messy in certain points. Not in a bad way, but it just there is some inconsistencies there. But Puppet Master 2 has a very consistent story. Now, I love all the puppets in the series. Of course, you had Leech Woman from the first movie, who was probably my least favorite of the puppets because she seemed like the most ineffective of the puppets because she has to spit out leeches and it takes God knows how long for the leech to get out. But the rest of the puppets I do love. Of course, I have my favorites and least favorites, but the designs are all so interesting. They could have so easily just made generic-looking puppets, but each puppet stands out. You had Tunler, who has a great design. Jester does look like a simple jester, but they do this interesting thing with his head so it spins around in different directions. And of course we have Pinhead, who I like his look, of course. Torch is introduced in this movie, and he has a fantastic design, and he's definitely one of the more effective puppets because he has a flamethrower.
Is that all you can do?
And then, of course, we have Blade, who is my favorite puppet, and many people would probably say he's their favorite puppet. I can't help it, I'm a Blade fan. I love all the puppets, but yeah, Blade, he's my main man.
There's the woman.
But I do think the story is very interesting. There were a lot of slow moments in the first Puppet Master. I don't think it didn't get to the point of annoyance, but there were some moments where you could say, okay, this is clear padding. There's a much more interesting story in this Puppet Master. It's not just psychics going to a hotel and then finding out that puppets are alive. It involves, Andre Toulon coming back from the dead, seeing this woman who looks like his late wife, and then his obsession growing with her. Meanwhile, again, you have the puppets going around collecting brains to try and make this formula that they need. One of the things I love about Puppet Master is you have some really good puppetry involved, of course, and then for some more intricate scenes, they use stop-motion animation. And that's one of the things that disappoints me in later Puppet Master movies. You had the first 5 Puppet Masters that used puppetry and stop-motion animation, and then in later Puppet Master movies, you saw a lot less stop-motion animation and stiffer puppetry, which is just sad, especially for a Puppet Master movie. I mean, again, you look at Part 2 and Part 3, the puppetry in both of those movies is great. The stop-motion in both of those movies is great. But focusing on Puppet Master 2, it has some quality kills in it. I mean, okay, they're not the most fancy kills, but they are very effective. And I love the relationship between Andre and the puppets throughout this movie. The relationship is better in Part 3. And there is an inconsistency between Part 2 and the rest of the series, but people have developed a theory that because Andre was undead, his brain was rotted, and that affected his sanity. And while, yeah, I'll admit full-heartedly there are inconsistencies in the second movie and the rest of the series, but I'm willing to go with that theory because I love it so much, but it's an inconsistency. That's what it is. We just need to admit it. It is an inconsistency. And when we get the final reveal of Andre Toulon, where he takes his bandages off and he reveals his zombie self, He looks a lot like Gollum from the Lord of the Rings, from the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Elsa. Now, Elsa.
I mean, you look at it, you look at this face, and then you look at Gollum's face, they look very similar. Was Peter Jackson a Puppet Master fan? I don't know if he was or not, and I'm not going to say whether he was or he wasn't, but I like to think he was. But yes, we have some of my favorite puppets going around doing their thing. We have the interesting story with Andre Toulon. Yeah, this is my favorite movie in the Puppet Master series, but I love Puppet Master 1 through 5. I have a soft spot for some of the Puppet Master movies after that, but only because it's associated with one of my favorite series. I hope we can get some better Puppet Master movies in the future, because this franchise deserves some respect. It was released straight to video, it never got a theatrical run, but that's one of the reasons why I respect it so much. It has become such a notorious franchise without a theatrical run. It was released on video back in the video rental store days, and then people learned about it through word of mouth, and I really respect Puppet Master for that. My apologies to the Child's Play fans out there. I am a big fan of Child's Play, and I understand why people like Child's Play more than Puppet Master, but I'm a Puppet Master fan. I can't help it. It's just the way my brain works. How many Puppet Master fans do we have out there? Leave it in the comments section down below. But yes, Puppet Master, one of my favorite series, and I love Puppet Master 2, and I am all for a Puppet Master marathon around Halloween.